Hi there, Joanne here with another 12x12 scrapbooking start to finish video. This one I probably should have called the most awkward way to get to an extremely simple finished layout. I decided when I started filming that I was going to use these few things from my get rid of pile. Those, I want to say pink paisley, clear cards, and those Dear Lizzie American Crafts tags. I play around with it for a little bit and then eventually decide that it's not going to work. And by the time I decide, it's a couple of days later. I left this on my desk for a while to see if I could magically think of a way to do it that I was happy with, and it didn't happen. So I'll just have a tutu with these for a while. There we go. So this is a few days later, and this is the third time that I'm doing the background of this layout. The first time the ink went over the edge of the washi tape and left a mark around the outside of the stencil, which I didn't like. And the second time when I pulled off the washi tape, I ripped the background paper. So I'm using a Heidi Swap stencil and Versamagic Purple Hydrangea chalk ink and blending in some Brilliance Galaxy Gold ink. This is the first time that I'd pulled out my little ink applicators, I think that's what they're called, to have a play with stencils. When I bought them, I didn't know why I wanted them. I just wanted them, but I'm glad I found a way to use them. So I started off with a purple X in the middle, and then I'm slowly blending it out a bit and adding more gold so the X isn't too noticeable. In the final product, the gold is actually nice and shimmery and sparkly, and it's not as gold as the ink pad because the way the purple has been blended into it. So eventually I'll decide I've had enough of doing this, and then I'll carefully peel off all the washi tape. So there's the two inks that I used, and I was so very careful doing this. I was so paranoid I was going to rip it again. In the end, I'm glad that I ended up having to do it 3 times. I think the last one was the best one. The first one, it didn't really go from the dark in the middle to light on the outside. It was a bit haphazard. And then the second one, I wasn't overly happy with either. And there we go. So I'm going to use the same photo as what I was playing with before, and once again I'm going to try and use these tags and plastic cards. Eventually I'll realise that it's just not going to work, no matter how hard I try. Ah yes, they are pink paisley clear cards. I think they're a little bit smaller than 4x6. I've had them in my stash for a very long time. So finally giving up on those, and you'll see in the top corner the butterflies and the crocheted flowers and those large glitz gems. They were also in my pile to use before I lose them. In the end, all I used out of that starting pile was the gems. So those wood veneers are from the Teresa Collins wedding line. I think it's got a name, but I can't remember it at the moment. And so are these little tags. I really wanted to use some of my few wedding embellishments for these. This is a photo from my wedding, but the colours just don't go. The black's good. Our colours were purple and black, so, but not peach. So the rest of them, it didn't really fit. So here I am a little bit later, and I'm flicking through these Heidi Swap ephemera. It takes me a while here, and I end up pulling out a lot of little black elements. And I also pull out some clear, I want to say acetate, but that's not the word. It must be. Flowers and leaves that will end up getting used, and also that black banner. I think I play with this for a little bit too long. I wasn't too sure about the flowers that I ended up using, which you can see there on that I've pulled out just next to the ampersand, but I think they match quite nicely with the flowers that we're holding. I think those are roses and these are something different, but still, in the picture they look very similar. So I really love that Wood Love veneer, and I was trying so hard to find a way to make it work. I liked how it was on top here, there, with the love and then the U out of the banner and the banner, but the pink just didn't really go. And neither did that giant ampersand. I couldn't think of a title to make it work. So this is the little black banner die cut. Sorry, my brain's a bit on a bit of a go slow today. I don't tend to use the word blessed in any of my scrapbooking. I think it's not really me. But I thought for wedding photos, why not? And I wanted something purple and sparkly behind it, so I pulled out my purple glitter washi tape that I brought especially for our wedding photos, and I did this extremely awkwardly, trying to hold down the washi tape sticky side up and put pop dots on the back to hold it down. After the fact, I realised it would have been better to stick the washi tape to a piece of white card and then stick that on the back, but I didn't think of that at the time. So I'm going to sit and fiddle with these die cuts and try and get something to work. I was having a really hard time trying to get anything to work for the page. Everything I did, I felt it looked silly. But in the end, I'm very happy with the end product. Just wasn't happy with it when I was actually making it. So I wanted some more purple sparkly somewhere on the page to make that blessed fit in a little bit more, and I didn't have any cardstock, so I'm going to take the glitter washi and I cut a piece of white card at 4 1/4 by 6 1/4, and I'm just going to put the purple glitter washi around the end, and I ended up using that as a border and then sticking the photo down to it. So it looks like it's an entire piece of paper, but it's not, and you can only see the little bits on the corners where it overlaps if you look really, really closely. So I've pulled out a Studio Calico gold doily. I wanted to bring in some more gold from the background. And you wouldn't believe it with the way the light changes in this video, but a lot from when I'd started the background with the hearts right until the very end, it was the same day and only within the space of a couple of hours, but the light coming in from the ranch slider doors changed so dramatically that sometimes the page looks yellow, but this is pretty true to real life, the lighting here. I don't have any studio lights or anything. I just have to rely on whatever's coming in the ranch slider, which is to my right. So the I'll Be Yours and You'll Be Mine veneer piece is from Dear Lizzie, I think the Daydreamer line, and I'm just flicking through some label stickers. These black chalkboard ones I bought especially for our wedding photos as well, and I'm just going to have a fiddle and see which one I think looks the best in there. I just wanted to add another layer between the veneer and the doily. The little canvas butterfly is an older one. I think it may have been Prima, and I coloured it gold a long time ago, and I just pulled it out and thought it matched quite nicely. So just taking a photo to make sure I don't forget, and I'm going to try and stick everything down. I fiddle a lot when I'm doing this, trying to make sure I've got it exactly where I want it. I wanted the photo to stick out past the hearts on the left hand side, but also kind of interrupt a line of hearts at the bottom, so it didn't look like it was placed there so perfectly, even though it was. Lots and lots of pop dots. I had to pop up the photo so the wood veneer could fit underneath. So I'm getting there, and believe it or not, I'm actually nearly done. Sorry if it's a bit boring watching me stick it down. So I'm just working on the little cluster that's going to be up on the top left. I've used part of that chalkboard sticker that I cut off. And I've decided just to pop this little flower in there. But I was getting a bit pedantic with where I put the pop dot. I didn't want it to be seen. I wasn't too keen on the paper versions of them, so I've ended up using the acetate pieces in both spots. Just using these giant glitz rhinestones. I'll pop the bigger one down by the title and a smaller one up in the top cluster. I'm just putting a pop dot behind that little So Happy Together, which is also another little plastic piece from the ephemera Heidi Swap package. So all of those little plastic pieces have a clear plastic protective covering on them. So I just grab a piece of washi tape and put it on and peel it off, and it usually peels up the adhesive, the plastic covering as well. So I'm just building up a couple of pop dots down there to go underneath that giant rhinestone, and another smaller one up on the top left. I'm just sticking the leaves down with it. Well, thinking about it, but that's what I do in the end. I was trying to decide if I really needed another giant rhinestone, and I do. Here we go. So, as I told you at the start, it is the most awkward way to an extremely simple layout at the end. I'm just going to stick some date stamps in that purple hydrangea ink, just making sure it stamps nicely, as I've never stamped with it before. I only used it with the ink applicator. Add another couple more little fainter stamps, and it is done. So thank you for watching. I hope you'll stick around for the next one. Bye.